Hey there. We're talking about the rising of consciousness and leveling up in the game of life, in your video game of life today. So, first of all, what's consciousness? Consciousness is that elusive thing that it's really hard to put a finger on. It's kind of like a fish being in water, and the fish says, "Where's the water?" Right? Because it is a part of who it's a part of their reality, but they're just not aware of it, right? And that's what consciousness is. It's awareness of being aware. All right. So it's awareness of being awake. It's awareness of being present. It is consciousness is the one who's watching the thinking mind. So if you say, "Oh, yesterday I was thinking about such and such," well, who's the one who was watching the thinking mind? Who's the one that's saying the I am was thinking yesterday? That's your consciousness. Consciousness is awareness of being aware. So, what's the rising of consciousness? The rising of consciousness, I sometimes like to think about it in a spiral shape, right? It is something that's happening and evolving no matter what we do. It is an evolution of our spirit, of our soul, really, right? So, and one of the things I like to tell the girls and that we talk about is, when we're talking about parenting or maybe mistakes that I've made in my parenting, which we talk about openly, and I will say, I'm a better parent than my parents were, and you're going to be a better parent than I am if you choose to have children, right? So it just happens. Our consciousness just evolves. So that's consciousness, the rising of consciousness. So what's this video game of life? What's the game of life? So I just want to share a real quick story. The last couple of years have been challenging for so many people. And I had a dream about my deceased father. And in the dream, he came to me and without speaking, did this silly sort of like, he used to love charades. He did this silly charade where he was showing me something with a game. It wasn't the game of life, but this essence of it was that he was playing the game. And he demonstrated like playing this game so haphazardly. And I woke myself up from the dream and I didn't get it right away, but I made a commitment that I would sit with it until the message came through. And what I got was that the way he was playing this game and was so excited about how it landed, about how it ended. The message was no matter how you play the game, you always level up. You always win the game, right? So this is the message from my dad and what I got from it, or from the dream. What I got from it is as long as we're in there, as long as we're playing, as long as we're remembering, right, that in the bigger arc of our consciousness on this planet, the rising of our own consciousness, as long as I remember that these smaller arcs and the challenges that are happening right now in this very moment, that they align to the bigger arc, not just of my life, but for all of humanity. Remembering that when it's really challenging, when there are things that are happening, when people are suffering, and I feel like I can't do anything about it. Really taking a deep breath and remembering this is about the bigger arc and the evolution of consciousness. And what can I do right now in this arc, in this smaller arc, to impact the bigger arc? That's what the rising of consciousness is. That's what leveling up and playing the game is. So what I want you to practice doing this week is I want you to sit down and take maybe 10 or 20 minutes to just write down what are the top 10 to 20 most impactful things that have happened in your life. Okay? That's number one. Just write 10 to 20 things, good and bad things. I'm air quoting good and bad. And then I want you to write a big arc, draw a big arc, and then draw some smaller arcs underneath. In the smaller arcs, you're going to take those 10 or 20 things and you're going to label these smaller arcs. Then what I want you to do is I want you to align that to the bigger arc by writing what your learning was. What did you learn from those smaller arcs that line you up to that bigger arc? That's your practice for this week. I know it's a little elaborate, and you are going to get some incredible ahas from this exercise. I'm really looking forward to hearing how it goes. Have an amazing week, and I'll see you back here next week. Take care.